Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq, coming to you live in New York City from SmartCon by Chainlink. Joining me for this segment, we have Summer Mersinger, CEO of the Blockchain Association. We're here to discuss the biggest opportunities for constructive engagement between innovators and regulators in the blockchain space. It is great to have you with us, Summer. Welcome to Trade Talk.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
You got it. So tell us, blockchain associations, what is your core area of focus right now when we think about blockchain adoption?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're the unifying voice for the blockchain industry, mostly with policymakers in Washington, trying to help get our policy to a place where we're really encouraging innovation. We're allowing the products and the markets to come on shore, and just make sure that America is really welcoming to this industry and not inadvertently creating laws or creating policies that shut the door on the innovation that's coming in.
So what are some of the positive policy or educational efforts that have shown a big difference right now within the ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the easiest one to point to is the Genius Act, which was signed into law in July. It really opened up a framework for stablecoins in the United States. And it not only does it provide the stablecoin issuers with some surety, some certainty in how they're going to be regulated, but it provides consumer protections that you would hope that people would do, but it's probably better to have them in law saying, there's going to be one-to-one reserves. There's going to be certain disclosures that are given. And so that's a great example of why these policies are so important, because we're giving the industry certainty and you're giving consumers the protections they need.
So speaking of policy, you're going to, at SmartCon, we're going to hear from technology leaders, institutional financial leaders, policymakers, of course. What do you expect to hear from the conversations, or what do you hope to hear?
Yeah, here at the event, I think we'll hear a lot of just what people are building, what they're thinking it's, coming in the future, what they want to build here in the United States, where they see the market headed. It's always good to kind of that forward looking. A lot of times when you're dealing with policy, you're so in the moment that you forget there's things coming up that you need to be thinking of and be ready for, and think about how the policy is going to impact it. So a lot of it is just kind of what's coming down the line with market, but in the market, but also how policy is affecting the innovators and the founders. What works for them, what doesn't, what are they concerned about. It really is an opportunity to touch base with the industry and get kind of a pulse for where they are when it comes to policy in the United States.
So speaking of forward looking, what do you expect in terms of constructive engagement, over the next year, let's call it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're seeing a lot of good engagement on Capitol Hill. I've been doing this for a while. I was at the CFTC before, and we did a lot of education with members on the crypto market. There was definitely an education gap that I'm seeing shrink. So there's a lot of opportunity to work closely with Congress and start to develop some laws that provide certainty to the market. I think this administration has been very collaborative. There's been multiple opportunities to work closely with this administration. You see the SEC Crypto Task Force, they're doing a lot of work, a lot of great kind of administrative rules in this space. They're looking at doing an innovation exemption. CFTC has their crypto sprint. So there's a lot of engagement with these regulatory agencies too. It's definitely a different world from where it was before.
It definitely is, and I've been covering the space for almost 10 years, which is a long time in the media world. And the way the conversations have evolved, certainly over the past 18 to 24 months, I also think that the industry is starting to understand their audience in a more way. Talking to a policymaker, talking to a technologist, talking to an institution. Those conversations are very different.
Yeah.
Being able to articulate what the vision is, I think the industry's matured in that respect.
I think you're right. And we're seeing it in just some of the approaches that we have going in front of Congress, going in front of the regulators. I think recognizing that they can be partners rather than enemies is a really good kind of step that we're seeing in the industry. Some of that was just because there was a previous administration that wasn't very friendly, but I also think, working with Congress as a partner rather than trying to, avoid the policy making, kind of the lobbying and that sort of thing, that's critical to getting things right policy wise. So I definitely see the industry really starting to it's looking more like some of the traditional trades out there in their ability to lobby and make sure their voices are heard and make sure they can influence policy in a way that's best for industry.
Summer, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. And thanks for joining me from SmartCon. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.